Those interested in the history of the mob are often divided on the answers to the question, did John Gotti ever personally kill anyone? Well, according to the sworn testimony of former Bonanno boss Joe Massino, when Paul Castellano ordered the murder of his daughter's boyfriend, it was John Gotti who pulled the trigger. Let's check it out. Welcome to OC Shorts, bringing you detailed historical snapshots of the American Mafia and other organised crime. Feel free to subscribe if you like that sort of thing. Today, we're going to take a quick look at the killing of Vito Borelli, a murder ordered by Paul Castellano, and according to former Bonanno boss Joe Massino, was personally executed by John Gotti. The daughter of Paul Castellano had been in a relationship with a Gambino Crime Family associate by the name of Vito Borelli. As most of you may be aware, and has been well documented, Borelli had been making disparaging remarks about Castellano. Borelli famously saying that there was a likeness between the Gambino family boss and chicken magnate Frank Perdue. Castellano was seriously offended by the lookalike statement, and the insulted crime boss ordered Borelli to be killed. Now, many websites document the Borelli murder to have occurred in 1975. This is largely based on the testimony of former Bonanno underboss turned informer Sal Vitale. But by his own admission, Sal Vitale often made mistakes regarding dates, and it is more likely that the killing of Borelli took place in the fall of 1980. But I'll come to this in greater detail later. And so, the order comes down from Castellano to whack Borelli and make his body disappear. Now, interestingly, the murder of Vito Borelli is an example of when two New York crime families combined for a mob hit. In this incident, it is wise guys from the Bonanno family and the Gambino family. The Bonanno family was brought in after Paul Castellano asked acting Bonanno boss Salvatore Castellano to assist. Interestingly, Borelli had allegedly once been associated with the Bonanno family, and had even dated one of official family boss Philip Rusty Rastelli's nieces. Joe Massino, the former Bonanno family boss turned government witness, recalled the following details when questioned about Vito Borelli's murder. He was going out with Paul Castellano's daughter, and he was making a lot of fun at Paul Castellano. And they couldn't get Vito. And Paul Castellano, at the time, we had somebody by the name of Sal Castellano. He was our acting boss in the Bonanno family. And Paul asked him for a favour. He was having a hard time and he wanted Vito to be killed. Why was Vito to be killed? Just to be clear, he was making fun of Paul Castellano. At this time, the Bonanno family was out of the commission and had also been banned from making any new members. This ban on inductions was allegedly lifted in 1984. The hit on Vito Borelli was an opportunity for Castellano and the Bonannos to gain favour with Paul Castellano. This would hopefully provide them with a powerful ally, especially when it came to any consideration regarding letting the family back on the commission. Sal Castellano recruited two of the family's most powerful captains to help carry out the hit. They were Joseph Massino and Dominic Sonny Black Napolitano. According to Joe Massino, those involved from the Bonanno family were Anthony Rubito, who was a soldier, and John Bubby Serasani, an associate at the time but a future soldier. Joe Massino and Sonny Black Napolitano need little introduction. But here's a brief bit of information on Rubito and Serasani. Anthony Rubito, known as Fat Tony and Mr. Fish, had become a made man in August 1977. Messina recalled, "I proposed him, Carmine Galante made him." He would eventually be sentenced to 6 years for drug trafficking in 1982, largely due to information gathered by Agent Joe Pistone undercover as Donnie Brasco. Over the years, he would progress up the family ranks, and in 2010 was officially handed the position of consigliere. a role that he'd been carrying out on an acting capacity for a couple of years. John "Bubby" Cerasani was a well-liked and respected mobster. He was the right-hand man to Dominic "Sonny Black" Napolitano, and allegedly had 30 hits under his belt. He famously assisted in the clean-up after the Three Captains hit, impressing Benjamin "Lefty" Ruggiero with his strength when it came to picking up the corpse of the massive Dominic "Big Trin" Trinchera. Lefty told Donnie Brasco, "I couldn't move him, Bubby could. Trin was all cut open and bleeding. There was little pieces lying around from the shotgun blast. Bubby got blood all over him trying to pick him up. I couldn't believe how strong Bubby is. He don't look it. I was amazed. Bubby could move him." John "Bubby" Cerasani was eventually inducted into the Bonanno family in 1985. For further information on him, please see one of my previous videos with the link here. But for a quick fun fact about John "Bubby" Cerasani, he once famously tried to sue the makers of the film Donnie Brasco for how they portrayed him. From the Gambino side, those involved were John Gotti, who was an acting captain at the time, Frank DeCicco, and Angelo Ruggiero. Additional names such as Sal Vitale and Roy DeMeo would also be involved in the disposal of Borelli's body. But for the moment, let's focus on his actual killing. Borelli was contacted by Bonanno soldier Anthony Rubito, who lured the victim to the warehouse of Rubito's cookie shop, situated at East 53rd Street in Midtown Manhattan. Returning to Joe Massino's testimony, who was involved in the murder of Vito Borelli? Me, John Gotti, Angelo Ruggiero, Frankie DeCicco, Sonny Black, Bubby, Anthony Rubito, and Sal Vitale. And who ordered the murder? Paul Castellano. What was your role with respect to the murder? I was just there. What do you mean by that? I was down the block. The day he was killed? The day he got murdered. What was John Gotti's role? He was the shooter. And just to be clear for the record, who was Paul Castellano at the time of this murder? He was the boss of the Gambino family. And who was John Gotti at this point in time? At that point, he was an acting captain of the Gambino family. You also mentioned some other individuals involved in the murder. What was Sonny Black's role in the murder? Sonny Black was outside with Bubby. What was Bubby's role? Just there. Now you also mentioned a Frank DeCicco. Who is Frank DeCicco? Frankie DeCicco was a captain in the Gambino family. What was his role in the murder of Vito Borelli? He was there. What about Angelo Ruggiero? He was there. And so, according to Joe Massino, whilst the other wise guys were on lookout duty, Vito Borelli entered Rubito's cookie store, and John Gotti personally whacked him. Vito Borelli is dead, and this is where Sal Vitale comes into play. Earlier that day, Dwayne Goldie Leisenheimer, a Messina associate, had stolen a panel truck and delivered this vehicle to Vitale, an associate at the time, and also John Carniglia, a Gambino soldier. Vitale recalled that he received a call from Messina telling him that the truck wouldn't start. Sal Vitale then travelled into Manhattan to see if he could get the vehicle to work. After failing to do so, he decided to use his own car. As Messina testified when questioned, "You mentioned Sal Vitale as well. Sal Vitale. What was his role in the murder? He brought his car. That's how we moved the body." The body of Vito Borelli was then placed in the trunk of Sal Vitale's car, who then, accompanied by Frankie DeCicco, drove the vehicle to a location in South Ozone Park, Queens. At this location was a second group of men, including Gambino soldier and expert of body disposal, Roy DeMeo. It is presumed the body was then dismembered and disposed of in Brooklyn's Fountain Avenue dump, a site often used by DeMeo. As previously mentioned, many sites state that the Vito Borelli murder took place in 1975. But if we look at the information provided by Joe Massino, we can deduce that the killing actually happened several years later. In his testimony, Massino lists Gotti as an acting captain at the time of the killing. However, in 1975, Gotti was in prison for his role in the James McBratney slaying. Gotti wasn't even made until 1977. It is said that even as an associate, Gotti was put in charge of Carmine Fatico's crew, but Massino was very specific in his use of words acting captain. Also, Massino states that Castellano was boss of the Gambino family. And as we know, in 1975, Carlo Gambino was still alive. Massino also states that Sal Catalano was the Bonanno family acting boss. Sources state that the first recorded indication that Catalano was acting boss for the imprisoned Rusty Rastelli was 1980, the year after the murder of Carmine Galante. The FBI observed Castellano and Catalano meeting in October 1980. Putting all these factors together points to the theory that Vito Borelli was killed in at least the fall of 1980 and not 1975. Two other names are sometimes stated as being involved in some respect to the killing of Vito Borelli. They are Bonanno soldier James Episcopia and also powerful Gambino associate Joe Watts. Paul Castellano may have hated looking like Frank Perdue, but it didn't stop him doing business with the man. With regards to Joe Massino naming John Gotti as the shooter of Vito Borelli, the question is, why would he lie? John Gotti is also linked with two other killings that he allegedly carried out personally, but I will cover these at a later date. I've included the links to some of the books used in the research for this video in the description and top comment below. I hope you found that interesting. Thanks for watching.